Picture a guy who owns a portable toilet rental company. Not glamorous, not something you'd casually mention at a dinner party. But businesses like his can generate remarkably steady revenue, while flashy tech startups burn through cash and shut down. So here's the real question. Is it the business that decides who gets rich? Or is it something happening in our own heads? Close your eyes for a second and picture a millionaire. Go ahead, actually picture them. I bet you saw a guy in a hoodie, sleek office, an app on his phone that changed everything. Investors clapping in the background. That image is everywhere. It's in movies, it's on social media, it's the entire vibe of business content online. But here's the part nobody really sits with. Wealth doesn't care what looks impressive. It doesn't care about your vision board or your pitch deck. Wealth simply follows one thing: problems people already pay to have solved. And that gutter cleaning guy, that HVAC repair guy, that portable toilet rental business owner, they're often solving problems way more reliably than the exciting startup down the street. So let's actually go there. Picture someone running a portable toilet company for construction sites and outdoor events. Nobody's impressed when he says what he does at a party. There's no applause. But many construction sites have sanitation requirements that make portable toilets necessary, and outdoor events often need them regardless of what the economy is doing. That demand doesn't vanish because of a bad news cycle. It's just quietly there, waiting. Compare that to a startup founder who may have to convince thousands of people to adopt a product they weren't actively looking for. One of these is a much harder sell than the other. But here's the part that really gets interesting, and it's not really about business at all. It's about ego. Ask yourself honestly, would you rather tell people you built an app or that you clean out porta potties for a living? Most people, if they're being truthful, would pick the app, even if the app makes less money and drains their savings. That's status talking, not strategy. We don't just want money. We want to look successful while getting it. And that single instinct quietly pushes some of the most talented, ambitious people away from businesses with clearer paths to revenue, simply because those businesses don't sound cool. Which means all that competition, all that talent, all that funding piles into the same handful of exciting industries, while the unglamorous ones stay wide open. Less competition, less noise. More room for anyone willing to swallow their pride and show up. Now here's the twist most people miss completely. Boring businesses don't just win because demand is steady. They win because they're genuinely hard to replace. Think about it. If your air conditioning breaks in July, you're not shopping around for the most innovative repair company. You want someone reliable, local, and available today. Reputation, relationships, and reliability become the moat. That's incredibly hard for a stranger to copy overnight, even with a lot of money behind them. A flashy idea can get outcompeted by the next flashy idea in 6 months. A trusted local business that shows up on time for 10 years straight? That's much harder to knock off its spot. But here's where ego gets even more dangerous, and this is the part that quietly wrecks people's finances for years. People don't just avoid boring businesses because they're boring. They avoid them because that kind of work threatens their identity. Somebody might spend 2 years grinding on a startup, barely paying themselves anything, because being able to say, "I'm a founder," simply feels better than saying, "I run a cleaning business bringing in $15,000 a month." Even if the cleaning business is the one actually paying the bills. That's not a business decision. That's a self-image decision wearing a business costume. Let's be fair too. Boring doesn't mean easy, and it definitely doesn't mean guaranteed. Every business, exciting or boring, comes with real risk. Competition, labor costs, slow seasons, unexpected expenses, all of that is real. What boring businesses tend to offer isn't a guarantee, it's clarity. You can usually see exactly where the money comes from, exactly who's paying you, and exactly why they need you. That clarity is what makes the numbers easier to plan around. So let's pull this together into something you can actually use. First, Notice when you're chasing an idea because it sounds impressive versus because people are already paying for it. Those are two very different signals, and it's worth being honest with yourself about which one is actually driving your decision. Second, look for the problems people complain about constantly but still pay to fix. The stuff that's unavoidable, not trendy, just necessary. That complaining is basically a signpost pointing straight at demand. Third, stop needing the idea to sound cool before you'll take it seriously. That single mental shift opens up entire categories of opportunity that most ambitious people walk right past, simply because their pride won't let them slow down and look. Because here's the truth most people don't want to hear. The businesses quietly building real wealth in this country are rarely the ones getting attention online. They're the ones nobody's filming, the ones that don't trend.
The ones being built slowly on some random Tuesday by someone who has stopped caring what it looked like from the outside. Go back to that portable toilet guy for a second. He doesn't need strangers to respect what he does. He doesn't need applause. He only needs his customers to keep paying him month after month, year after year. And maybe that's the real difference between the two paths we started with. Some people build businesses for customers. Others build them for applause. So maybe the real question isn't, what's the next big idea? Maybe it's, what have I been looking down on that's actually been the opportunity the whole time? Because sometimes the thing standing between you and real money isn't a lack of ideas, it's pride. If you want more videos about the psychology behind how people make, lose, and build money, subscribe to the Money Mind Hub